Penguin Random House Audio presents Stillness Is the Key. This is the author, Ryan Holiday. The struggle is great, the task divine, to gain mastery, freedom, happiness, and tranquility. Epictetus. Preface. It was the late 1st century AD, and Lucius Annaeus Seneca, Rome's most influential power broker, its greatest living playwright, and its wisest philosopher, was struggling to work. The problem was the ear-shattering, soul-rattling noise that poured in from the street below. Rome had always been a loud city. Think New York City construction loud. But the block where Seneca was staying was a deafening cacophony of disturbances. Athletes worked out in the gymnasium underneath his suite of rooms, dropping heavy weights. A masseuse pummeled the backs of old fat men. Swimmers splashed in the water. At the entrance of the building, a pickpocket was being arrested and making a scene. Passing carriages rumbled over the stone streets, while carpenters hammered away in their shops and vendors shouted their wares. Children laughed and played. Dogs barked. And more than the noise outside his window, there was the simple fact that Seneca's life was falling apart. It was crisis upon crisis upon crisis. Overseas unrest threatened his finances. He was getting older and could feel it. He had been pushed out of politics by his enemies, and now on the outs with Nero, he could easily, at the emperor's whim, lose his head. It was not, we can imagine from the perspective of our own busy lives, a great environment for a human to get anything done. Unconducive to thinking, creating, writing, or making good decisions. The noise and distractions of the empire were enough to make me hate my very powers of hearing, Seneca told a friend. Yet for good reason, this scene has tantalized admirers for centuries. How does a man besieged by adversity and difficulty not only not go out of his mind, but actually find the serenity to think clearly and to write incisive, perfectly crafted essays, some in that very room, which would reach millions upon millions and touch on truths that few have ever accessed? I have toughened my nerves against all that sort of thing, Seneca explained to that same friend about the noise. I force my mind to concentrate and keep it from straying to things outside itself. All outdoors may be bedlam, provided that there is no disturbance within. Ah, isn't that what we all crave? What discipline, what focus, to be able to tune out our surroundings, to access one's full capabilities at any time, in any place, despite every difficulty. How wonderful that would be. What we'd be able to accomplish. How much happier we would be. To Seneca and his fellow adherents of Stoic philosophy, if a person could develop peace within themselves, if they could achieve apatheia, as they called it, then the whole world could be at war, and they could still think well, work well, and be well. You may be sure that you are at peace with yourself, Seneca wrote, when no noise reaches you, when no word shakes you out of yourself, whether it be flattery or a threat, or merely an empty sound buzzing about you with unmeaning sin. In this state, nothing could touch them, not even a deranged emperor. No emotion could disturb them, no threat could interrupt them, and every beat of the present moment would be theirs for living. It's a powerful idea made all the more transcendent by the remarkable fact that nearly every other philosophy of the ancient world, no matter how different or distant, came to the exact same conclusion. It wouldn't have mattered whether you were a pupil at the feet of Confucius in 500 BC, a student of the early Greek philosopher Democritus 100 years later, or sitting in Epicurus's garden a generation after that. You would have heard equally emphatic calls for this imperturbability, unruffledness, and tranquility. The Buddhist word for it was upekkha. The Muslims spoke of Islama. The Hebrews Hishtavut. The second book of the Bhagavad Gita, the epic poem of the warrior Arjuna, speaks of samatvam, an evenness of mind, a peace that is ever the same. The Greeks euthymia and hesychia, the Epicureans ataraxia, the Christians equanimitas. In English, stillness. To be steady while the world spins around you. To act without frenzy. To hear only what needs to be heard. To possess quietude, exterior and interior, on command. To tap into the Tao and the Logos, the Word, the Way. Buddhism, Stoicism, Epicureanism, Christianity, Hinduism. It's all but impossible to find a philosophical school or religion that does not venerate this inner peace, this stillness, as the highest good and as a key to elite performance and a happy life. And when basically all the wisdom of the ancient world agrees on something, only a fool would decline to listen. Introduction. The call to stillness comes quietly. The modern world does not. In addition to the clatter and chatter and intrigue and infighting that would be familiar to the citizens of Seneca's time, we have car horns, stereos, cell phone alarms, social media notifications, chainsaws, airplanes. Our personal and professional problems are equally overwhelming. Competitors muscle into our industry. Our desks pile high with papers, and our inboxes overflow with messages. We are always reachable, which means that arguments and updates are never far away. The news bombards us with one crisis after another on every screen we own, of which there are many. The grind of work wears us down and seems to never stop. We are overfed and undernourished, overstimulated, overscheduled, and lonely. Who has the power to stop? Who has time to think? Is there anyone not affected by the din and dysfunctions of our time? While the magnitude and urgency of our struggle is modern, it is rooted in a timeless problem. Indeed, history shows that the ability to cultivate quiet and quell the turmoil inside us, to slow the mind down, to understand our emotions, and to conquer our bodies has always been extremely difficult. All of humanity's problems, Blaise Pascal said in 1654, stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. In evolution, distinct species like birds and bats have often evolved similar adaptations in order to survive. The same goes for the philosophical schools separated by vast oceans and distances. They developed unique paths to the same critical destination, the stillness required to become master of one's own life, to survive and thrive in any and every environment, no matter how loud or busy. Which is why this idea of stillness is not some soft New Age nonsense or the domain of monks and sages, but in fact desperately necessary to all of us, whether we're running a hedge fund or playing in the Super Bowl, pioneering research in a new field, or raising a family. It is an attainable path to enlightenment and excellence, greatness and happiness, performance as well as presence for every kind of person. Stillness is what aims the archer's arrow. It inspires new ideas. It sharpens perspectives and illuminates connections. It slows the ball down so that we might hit it. It generates a vision, helps us resist the passions of the mob, makes space for gratitude and wonder. Stillness allows us to persevere, to succeed. It is the key that unlocks the insights of genius and allows us regular folks to understand them. The promise of this book is the location of that key, and a call not only for possessing stillness, but for radiating it outward like a star, like the sun, for a world that needs light more than ever. The key to everything.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?